husband and his wife. Until one instance after an 8-week-long business trip she took, she started acting strangely. Then he found out that she actually took an STD test when she came back. Now let's read the full story. Original post. My 28 male, wife, 26 female, is a great person and we have always gotten along. We have been married for almost 2 years and we've been together for 4.5 years. We are in a monogamous relationship and have both had several partners prior to our relationship. Every year, my wife goes on a long business trip, typically about 2 months. During this time, communication over phone and email can be difficult, contingent upon the technological issues where she works. She really enjoys her work during the business trips and usually comes home feeling fulfilled and excited about life. Normally when she comes home, she takes a day or two to rest and overcome the jet lag, 28-hour travel time, and 21-hour time difference. The following days, we tend to spend lots of time together, be intimate, dates, cuddling, catching up and so on, because she's been gone so long. This year, she came home as her same excited self after having had a great trip. In fact, she seemed so excited that she wanted to work on some projects, but would need to go get some material from the store. About 3 hours after picking her up from the airport, she says she wants to go shopping for her craft project, and that she will likely spend several hours out shopping. She really emphasizes how much time she'll need to go shopping, many hours. I think this is a little weird considering that she just came back from a 28-hour flight, hasn't slept, and she's usually not the type to spend more than an hour or two shopping. But whatever, it's fine. About 5 hours later, she comes home with a single bag of craft material. I register this as strange, but don't really think about it. I chalk it up to taking a lot of time to pick out her materials, carefully selecting them instead of bulk buying. Over the next few days, she didn't really go through the jet lag phase and stayed distant. I thought that was weird, but ended up giving her space and just focused on school. About 2 weeks post-return, we still weren't being intimate. Despite my advances and lightly prodding the issue, I just get a "I'm just feeling off and don't feel like it" response. I find that strange, since she is usually a 3 to 4 times a week kind of person, and we've been exploring some new kinks prior to her trip, which we had talked about kindling once she returned. The first few times that she doesn't reciprocate my advances, I don't think anything of it. We've always had a very open no policy, and are attentive to one another's needs, like time, tired, not feeling it, need it now. After 2 weeks, the combination of her distance and no intimacy feels really off. Over the weekend, she met up with her girlfriends for a day out. During that time, I snooped on her computer. If that bothers you, stop reading now. We have always been extremely open with our phones and social media. We both know our phone and computer passwords, and she knows my Facebook and so on. While she was out with her friend, I looked on her computer. She left her work and personal email and Facebook open or logged in. So I looked. Nothing out of the ordinary. Then I looked in the recycle bin and found that she had taken some private pictures with her phone, sent them to her email, downloaded, then deleted them, hence the recycling bin. I thought that was odd. Normally we would send pics to each other, not put them on our computers. Maybe she really liked them, she did look hot, and decided to keep them. This has my gears turning, because she has been really disinterested in intimacy since returning, but is taking selfies wearing lingerie. I looked at the metadata on the picture, confirmed it was taken recently, and that it was downloaded from Gmail. I went and looked at her Gmail. Nothing terribly odd here, but anything before 3 days after returning home had been deleted from her inbox, then deleted from the trash folder or not archived. Like if she came home on the 1st, everything before the 4th was deleted. However, in her trash bin was a confirmation of appointment for a health clinic in an adjacent city. It had a link with a user ID to log into the patient portal if you needed to change your appointment. I logged in with the ID and her common passwords, which I already knew from us sharing. The portal is mostly empty, but showed that she had scheduled and kept an appointment the same afternoon that she got home from her trip. The portal allows you to request records from visits, so I did. They were delivered to the portal about 30 minutes later. She had gone in for STD testing 5 hours after coming home from an 8-week business trip. To summarize, 1. Gets tested for STDs while saying she is going shopping the day she returns from an 8-week business trip. 2. Concealed the fact that she was tested, didn't leave phone number or address at the clinic, careful to delete emails pertaining to the clinic, made cover excuse to go out. 3. Super distant with me but very engaging towards friends and coworkers, and no intimacy. 4. Says not interested in it, but dresses up to take private pics and more. Found lots of videos open on her computer. Vibe out, not anything odd. We watch these videos together and alone. Open about self-servicing. 5. On a similar business trip, she did almost the exact same thing. Got tested as soon as she got home from a 7-week trip. Refrained from intimacy for about a week and distant. I found out via similar ways. Shared computer. Saw email from health clinic about results on portal. Previously, when I asked her about it, she said she had a UTI and went in for a full STD panel. Totally plausible. I let it go. I just feel like there's a pattern here. Also said that STD test was normal for women during checkups, although most clinics say that you must ask for the tests or have reasonable suspicion. 6. No real reason to suspect cheating, but damn, this feels weird. All the elements of possibility are there, I suppose. Possible explanations. 1. She had another health problem that seemed to resolve itself. Maybe she wanted more follow-up and didn't want to belabor me with the details, although the other health issue isn't urogenital related. She didn't receive any tests that would aim to diagnose the concomitant issue. 2. Health information could be weird if someone reading over your shoulder sees an email in your personal inbox from a clinic, so you delete it. I'm not sure this explains why her inbox was cleaned or stuff deleted from the trash. 3. Maybe she feels a little detached from me after being away for so long and needs more time to warm back up. 4. Could have also had another UTI and got STD panel at the request of practitioner. Although, no antibiotics, treatments were administered during the visit or weren't documented. 5. Maybe she thought I was cheating and got tested. Although, 8 weeks later seems a little outside of the incubation period. The secrecy of the whole thing really bothers me. Any ideas on how to approach this topic with my wife or other possible explanations? Now for the top advice before reading the updates. She's totally cheating. This man is choosing to be blind. It's like somebody is slapping him nonstop with red flags, over and over and over again. Whilst laying bloody and battered on the floor, flag stripes all over his broken body, he keeps murmuring, "She did not cheat on me, no way." I'd print all the proof you need, confront her about it so that she can't lie. She's cheating OP. Yup, STD tests aren't routine during gyno checkups. You have to ask for it specifically, and if her portal only says appointment for STD panel, she isn't doing a routine health screening. Honey, I know about the STD checkup. That's how you approach this situation. Or I would like to talk about your recent doctor's appointment. At this point, there is absolutely no need to jump to conclusions. Don't spend a lot of time hashing over it, just go and speak to her. Do not listen to all these miserable people who will say you're blind, stupid, or foolish. None of that matters. What matters is getting it straight with this woman and getting back to your life. All wrong, dude. She cheated on you, plain and simple. She's probably been cheating on you for a while now, if multiple business trips have resulted in this. If you two are as open as you say you are, there's no reason for her to delete private pics she never sent to you, no reason to delete everything from up to 3 days prior, no reason to hide the test results from you, no reason to lie about having gotten the test in the first place, and no reason to be distant. Dude, you've made up explanations that simply don't fit. The simplest explanation is generally the correct one. She's cheating on you. Sure, I know it looks that way, which is why I'm asking for advice and possible alternatives here. I am hesitant to make any accusations without more empirical proof. I feel like most of what I'm saying here is largely circumstantial and I could be spinning a web from nothing. Just looking for some thoughtful insights, maybe from other women about how normative this is. All signs point to cheating man. Sorry, I cannot think of a viable alternative, and I'm generally a more logical person who doesn't jump to immediate conclusions. Good luck. I think it's best to just confront it for what it is, and either move on with counseling or divorce. Now for the multiple short updates. Update 1. Admitted to cheating on her trip. Says only once. Evidence suggests at least 2. Update 2. 3 confirmed in 1 trip. Digging in now. Update 3. Typical. It was a one-time thing responses. It was your fault responses. Confirmed at least 3 dudes during her last trip alone. Likely systemic serial cheater since we've been together. Refuses to admit anything outside this business trip, even though she had carbon copy behavior 2 years ago. Refuses to be honest. Claims she wasn't going to meet anyone on her current solo camping trip. I know otherwise. Keep catching her in lies. Filing papers now. Update 4. It's at least 4 now. 1 on her first trip 2 years ago, hence the STD test then. Mutual friend knew about it, kept it secret. This is days or a week after we got engaged. Now for the full update at D-Day plus 55. Hey folks, I'm at D-Day plus 55 and I wanted to share a little bit more of my story and just talk it out. It gets a bit lonely at night and that's when my gears start cranking without the noise of the day to keep up distractions. So writing it out and clearing the air is perhaps cathartic. Wife and I have been married for 1.5 years, together for 4.5. We are both graduate students. I'm working towards my MD/PhD in genetics, and she is working towards her PhD in microbiology. No kids, few assets, not much debt. Here's the backstory if you'd like more information. Luckily, we study at different schools. I'm on the West Coast, where she was residing with me and working remotely, and she studies at my undergraduate institution in another state. When I found out and confronted her, she was on her way back to her school to do lab work and have committee meetings. So, our communications were largely conducted via text messaging and email. She was too much of a coward to speak to me on the phone. I suppose the discovery of infidelity in one's relationship is shocking and painful, and begins to pave an arduous road towards the penultimate reconciliation, or the parsing of community property. In my case, it's been the latter. It's not the intimacy that bothers me. I can understand those inclinations. I'm a biologist. Attraction, emotional investment, feeling wanted, the taboo of risk, adrenaline, those things make sense to me. What I could not understand is how my wife, someone I adore and respect immensely, could lie to her affair partners about who and what I am. It's like her inner monologue flowed freely to them, her true thoughts about me expressed vocally. That made me physically sick. I'm not a bad guy. I've always been there for my wife. We jived on every level, from toilet paper orientation to politics, humor, hobbies, and intimacy. It just doesn't make sense. During the post-mortem, I've often come to the realization that, as a partner on a two-way street, I could have always done more or achieved a stronger marriage. That's the sentimental part of my brain saying, look at all these missed opportunities for communication and growth. If you had really loved your wife, you would have figured it out and met her needs. That's a deadly game of roulette to play. The retrospective what if on infinite regression plays discordantly upon the soul. If the discovery of infidelity wasn't shocking enough, I also asked my wife to reconcile. She denied. I gave her a list of demands with 7 items. The header reads, the ground rules. If you choose not to comply, or I suspect that you have failed to comply with these rules, I will divorce you. Here is the abridged version of what I asked for. 1. You will allow me unfettered access to your phones, accounts, devices, and computers at any time without hesitation. 2. You will forfeit and show me all communications and materials of all extramarital relations that you've engaged in, no matter how minor or how insignificant you feel they were. 3. You will allow me to professionally recover data from your phone and other devices. If there is something that you haven't told me yet or haven't given me the full story, this would be a good time to do so. I extend you amnesty for other grievances notwithstanding lying. 4. You will contact all parties that you've engaged with, in any way, and explain that you were in a monogamous relationship, your husband knows, and that you messed up. You will apologize for misleading anyone about your relationship status, and you will contact their partners and explain what happened. 5. You will get tested for STDs and STIs every month for the next 6 months, including blood panels. This information will be made available to me at my request. 6. You will seek and engage in cognitive behavioral therapy until you have been treated for your dysmorphia, eating disorder, and have healthy managed your traumas. You and I will receive marriage counseling indefinitely or until we both feel that our problems have been resolved. We will both engage in communication coursework or reading. 7. Rules for opening the relationship. Maybe too controlling. Everything that I asked her for, I also offered to reciprocate where applicable. The first bloodletting was the discovery of the infidelity, and the mortal strike was her denying me safety in the relationship through dismissal of my needs. Once it was clear that she wasn't trying to reconcile, I was ready to burn it to the ground. I threatened to contact her partners, contact her affair partner's significant others, file professional misconduct complaints as one affair partner was her physician, contact her research board about misconduct, and contact her direct bosses, people whose image is jeopardized by her actions. She freaked out and suddenly became extremely receptive to what I was asking for. Begged me not to ruin her career, begged me not to tell anyone. I felt bad, apologized, and told her I wouldn't do that. By then, she had already gone to her bosses and conveyed some truth-trickled story to them. I obviously added a lot more pain to the situation by playing that card. This was almost a month ago. She filed for divorce the next day, threatened to file an order of protection so that I wouldn't contact people in her life, and then told me she couldn't forgive me for threatening to expose her like that. That's when I woke up. I had been drowning, undergoing hemorrhagic shock, and the hypothermia was creeping in. I had been desperately trying to get my wife on the shoreline to throw me a life preserver. My actions caused her to get her feet wet and she couldn't handle it. I started to understand who she was, weak and cowardly, not exactly life partner material. A few weeks later, I had a realization. It's like she died. That's what the pain and emptiness and anger feel like. I found out later that she was still in contact with one of her partners. Another punch in the gut. Anyways, that's where I'm at. I applaud you if you made this far. Our divorce is underway and will hopefully be resolved cleanly. For the time being, things here are quiet, empty, and lonely. My schoolwork has suffered, and I'm thinking about taking some time off to process everything. Thanks for listening. One affair partner was her physician. Agree with not going scorched earth, but I would report this guy. It's very unethical and medical board violation for a physician to take advantage of the power dynamic of a physician-patient relationship. Essentially, he's a predator. He'd be doing society and his future patients a favor. Yeah, I've really thought about this one a lot. I have a professional obligation to report him. Like you're suggesting, this probably isn't the first time he has engaged in this kind of behavior. According to my wife, he made her verbally affirm that he was not her doctor. I'm not sure if he signed any medical documentation that would suggest he was involved with her care. However, she acknowledged that he was on her care team, and that he performed sonography to screen for internal bleeding, at one point commenting that my wife had acute uterus. The guy sounds like a scumbag. I'm not sure what third-party reporting would accomplish though. I suspect my wife and he would both deny the encounters. If he's ever filed an insurance claim for treating her, he's her doctor. Given the nature of how her healthcare works during her fieldwork, there is no insurance paperwork. She admitted via text to me that he was on her care team. That's how they met. She also admitted to me that he performed sonography on her. You should still expose her to everyone involved. She might be carrying diseases that she's spreading. You giving people a heads up that their husbands might be bringing home an STD from your wife is the moral thing to do. I've seen the STI or STD results. She is clean. But I see what you mean. There is a potential public health hazard, but that's something that everyone engaging in intimate activity has to bear. I applaud that you've had the restraint to not contact everyone she's seeing. It sounds like she's already moved on. It isn't fair, because it feels like she's won the divorce and relationship already. But she sounds like she's behaving like a single 26 female, instead of a married 26 female for a long time now. The quicker you bring yourself back into the mindset of being a single 28 male instead of a married 28 male, the better off you'll be. She has a head start. It isn't fair. I know, dude. It seems so unfair even reading this. Maybe I'm projecting my own life into your situation, but it killed me how unfair it was that my ex was able to basically walk away and have a bunch of relationships, while I was stuck alone and bitter. I felt ruined. But you bring up some good points. Y'all never had kids, seem to have kept your lives somewhat separate despite being married. In a few years, this one will be the immature woman you married in your 20s. Don't make it the story of the woman you retaliated against professionally to make her hurt as much as you hurt, because you seem like a decent enough person, and reconciling that with your self-image would be pretty damn hard. But you seem to be thinking about it the right way. Her life seems really sad. You escaped a sinking ship, dude.